we're gonna get into the verse T questions, okay?
Okay.
Um, so if you had all the money, power necessary, what would you do? How would you change? I mean, like with change. Well, hold on. What would you do? Change that you feel would most benefit the LGBT Q community. I'm sorry.
Hmm. I read that question. That was my first loaded question. I was like, if I had all the money and power, if I was like the president of the United States or the king of the world, I'm pretty sure the first thing I would do is allocate funds for LGBTQ and youth housing. And I was talking to my boyfriend about this earlier. I was like, I probably would create little subdivisions and just create safe spaces for us. And he kind of combated me about like, oh, you would segregate us. Like, no, it's not segregation. It's about creating safe spaces. There are many communities who um, they band together and create a safe space for themselves. They protect themselves. They enjoy their property. They enjoy being around each other, and they move on in the world and they go back home and they know they're safe. And I think that for LGBTQ people over the past, hell, hundreds of years, like um, we're like walking targets for people who
Mm-hmm.
don't understand, you know, who really don't understand equality and what that means, like what being an equal human means. And so that's the first thing I would do because I know what that looks like. I used to work at an LGBTQ youth center a
Mm-hmm.
couple of years ago, and I would watch those kids come in. And man, like if you don't have a stable place to lay your head down at night, nothing else goes right. Nothing, because it is a basic need. You know, food, clothing, and shelter. And
Mm-hmm.
so, if I could do one thing, I would make sure that those three needs were met first. Another thing I would do is I would probably put some money into politics and make sure that we got an openly LGBTQ, whether openly gay, bisexual, or trans person on the Supreme Court, so that
Okay, representation.
if we had any issues with discrimination, we'd have someone that is for us sitting and being represented at the highest levels of leadership in this country or in the world. Period. But those are the things that I would do if I had the opportunity to do so. And there are also things that I plan on doing as my influence and affluence increases. So well, I guess we just have to wait to see how it goes.
Okay, okay. So I'm finna start with this quote, okay?
Hmm.
So ask not where I live or what I like to eat or how I comb my hair, but ask me what I am living for in detail. Ask me what I think is keeping me from living fully for the thing I want to live for. And that quote comes from Thomas Merton. Okay. So the question is, what is your goal in life? What is slowing you from achieving the goal?
What is my goal in life? I feel like there's not really just one ultimate goal, because goals change as you grow, as you meet certain objectives. But um, if I had to whittle it down to one, it's just that I want to be full and I want to be empty at the same time. I want to have lived out my wildest dreams, and I want to have poured out everything in me into this world in the time that I was given to do so, because I feel like that is my charge. That is our charge. While we're here, we're here for such a small amount of time considering how long this world has been here. So in that time, I want to make sure that I'm full, take it all in, but I also want to make sure that when it's time for them to put me in the ground, that I poured it all out at the same time.
Okay, okay. So so get prepared for this one, okay? What is your deepest tea? Something that you've never shared on media before, but something that you're willing to, share, of course.
Um, I'm relatively candid with my followers, so I think I've already probably exposed a lot of my deepest secrets in certain videos and vlogs and things like that. But I think one that I had to really um, to work through was this issue of worthiness. It was a
Mm-hmm.
battle for me. I, I sometimes battle depression and anxiety,
Mm.
and when I get in those spaces, or when I used to get in those spaces, it would be really hard for me to dig myself out of those holes because sometimes I felt like I wasn't really worth giving myself a second chance. I think in the other part of the interview, I said if you fall down, you have to get back up. Um,
Mm.
and that's because it's a lesson that I learned. You know, life keeps going, and winners never quit. Right, losers are the ones that give up. To be honest, and I just I had to make a decision. One day, I literally had to make a decision
Mm.
that I had to live a winner's life from now on. I just lost my best friend,
Oh, I'm sorry to hear
and
that.
I was in a really, really deep hole. I didn't leave my house for about 2 months straight. There were days I didn't leave my bed. People used to bring me food.
Mm.
Um, and one day I just got tired. I was like, I could just die. I was like, I should just die. And I'd been in that space before, and I knew what that was like. But that's not me. It's like that's not me. I have to live a winner's life, and what that means is, I'm knocked down right now. I have to get back up. The only way I could get back up was for me to try to. I had to express it in some way, and that was when I did my first interpretive visual called RIP, and it was Rebirth in Progress, and that dropped in 2018. It was a silent visual, but
Mm.
it literally saved my life because I had gotten to the point where I didn't want to go back outside. I didn't want to see anybody. I didn't want to talk to anybody.
Mm.
Um, but so that was a really dark time for me. But you know, that was some deep tea. But it encouraged me. It always bounced me back to my art. It always bounced me back to art saving my life. This is who I am. This is how I express. So I have to operate in this space. I have to because it keeps me
Mm-hmm.
alive.
Yeah, and it's all within a fight. I've been telling people that for the longest. It's all within a fight, and when you start second guessing yourself, you have to just be able to push yourself, find something to motivate you to keep on
Yeah,
moving. You know,
yeah,
and that's what life is about. It's about to fight.
yeah.
Um,
It's true.
what stumbling blocks have you in? I'm sorry. What stumbling blocks have you encountered on your journey with your work, and how did you overcome that?
Oh Lord, like I said, it's been a long 10 years. Um, wow. So I moved here in 2012 to pursue music, and within the week of me getting here, things started happening. Like I think Hurricane Sandy happened like 4 days after I got here,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then I ended up like I was staying with someone, and one of the people we were staying with got us kicked out. So
Mm.
I was in New York, homeless, sleeping in a car, changing in
Mm.
Starbucks bathrooms, washing up in hotel like lobbies and stuff like that. You know, but I knew I couldn't stop. You know, ended up being in a relationship for almost 3 years with someone who ultimately ended up being physically violent. So
Mm.
I had an experience of being in a domestic violent relationship,
Mm.
um, and I had to keep to keep pushing. I've lost jobs. I've Oh my God, like I said, my best friend died. One of my when I say my best friend, like um, we had relaunched the second edition of my Unknown Negro T-shirt line together,
Mm.
and he brought so much color into my life. And we did. It was there. We were only there for a short time, but he made such a huge impact on me. And losing him was was probably one of the lowest points I think I've ever had in my life because I'd never been connected to somebody in that way before. I really call him my brother, lover, friend because that's the relationship that
Mm.
we had. So that was hard for me. Um, and then just getting to a space where because it's not like it wasn't working like I thought it was gonna, like it's taking so long. Like I keep trying to get the student, I keep trying to put music on, it's just not working, blah blah blah. Where I wanted to give up, I announced my retirement, and within a week I got 3 bookings, got landed my first commercial, $1,200 get, so it was like the universe said, where are you going? Like there's work to do. And so like I said,
Got a purpose.
yeah, I had to remind myself, wait a minute, I'm a winner. I have to live a winner's life, which means that if I get knocked down, I have to get back up and keep going. So those were just a few struggles. And you just have to take it. And I was like, I'm going to use this. I can pull from it if I need to for my music. I can pull from it when I'm doing my motivational speaking, and working at a youth center, LGBTQ youth center. These kids are going to walk into some of those situations. And I want them to know that they can, no matter how low they feel, you can always stand up. Like if you hit rock bottom, the only place to go is up. And you have to know that.
Period.
You have to know that and believe that.
Definitely, definitely. So, you ready for this one?
Sure.
Okay.
Hit me. What's that?
Hit you. Bow. Ideally, what do you want to be your legacy for your work?
I love the word legacy. I talk about it all the time. Like that's when I'm gone, I want people to remember how I made them feel. Not really so much the words I said. Like if you capture it, you capture what I said. You know what I mean? If I put something in a lyric and you remember it, great. If I post something on social media and you remember it, great. But it's more so about the feeling. When I'm gone from here, I want people to feel something from my music. I want them to feel something from the movies or the commercials. When they see me, when depending on like how I'm dressed, like I want you to feel me. I want my presence to be felt. And I also want, I want people to honor their inner child. As adults, we kind of grow into this space where we have to like go along to get along, and we kind of just fall into the flow. Being adults and adulting, that we forget that as children, that is when we're the most sensitive to our own energy and essence, like what we were literally created for. And even though there was a lot of trauma that happened to me as a kid and throughout teenage years, I never forgot what that 6-year-old version of me wanted, and what his spirit was like, how happy he was. And so I carry that. And I think that at the end of this, when this is all over, I want people to remember me for how I made them feel, and for me igniting the inner child in them and making sure that their dreams stayed alive.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we're gonna wrap this up. So, hey, where can we find you from online? What's going on?
Right. Well, first of all, thank you all so much for having me. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, and I think Clubhouse now at the Derek Doll. You can find me on Facebook at Prince Derek Doll as well. And make sure that you go and get Bang for whatever streaming platform you choose: Google Play, Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, all the things. And thank you guys so much for having me. I really appreciate you for having me tonight.
Anytime. Well, hey, y'all know who I be. This is Rocky the Chicago author, and you are watching All the Tea on Verse TV. Holla.
Bye.